welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that everybody is having a great weekend so far. I hope that you're staying healthy, having some fun, staying focused. Students, this class is IELTS Speaking Part 2. It is the long part, the cue card, where you have to speak for 2 minutes after a minute of planning. And today's focus for this cue card will be an object for safety. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. In order to participate in the chat, you need to be a member, which means that you have to click the join button that's beside the subscribe button on the channel page. Welcome Amrit and Amra. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Good to see members joining in. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that we use for these lessons. We use these websites for our speaking. We use materials from these websites, such as the reading and the listening sections. So you definitely want to use the websites, and if you can, join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and it's kind of like buying your textbooks for our live classes. You just click that big red button there and you're off to the races. We are an official British Council IELTS Test Registration Center, certified agents, so you're in great hands with us. We still have that discount code going on that we started earlier this week for our latest video. And that discount code is pattern20. So use the code pattern20, PATTERN 20, and you'll get a 20% discount from the cost, making it even more affordable. So there you go. That's what you want to do. For general IELTS, it's the same idea. It's the green background. Click that big red button there. We will use the academic website today to hopefully speak with some of our members, practice this part 2 cue card. Welcome to the class, Baljit. All right, students, let's take a look at a little bit more info here. So, questions, anyone? Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will get back with some answers for you. We've got one more speaking class after this one right now. We will have speaking part 3. And then we will have more classes next week, starting on Thursday with speaking part 1, continuing with Friday, task 1 listening, and then we've got classes all the way till Sunday. So next week we have a Light Hall class on Sunday. Make sure to join for that. Light Hall is a really good platform for live teaching. So check it out. I'll put the link in the description there, and we'll have a Discord class on Sunday next week as well. So we've got lots and lots of speaking coming up next week, which is great. Let's take a look at speaking part 2, everyone. So here we go. IELTS speaking. We practiced some speaking part 1 earlier in the week. Speaking part 1 takes about 5-6 minutes, and then when you finish speaking part 1, the examiner will say that is the end of part 1. We will now begin part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. In the 1 minute preparation time, you can take notes if you wish. You have some note paper and a pencil there in front of you. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And then they check their watch. They'll give you exactly 60 seconds. Maybe a second more, maybe a second less, but not more than that. Okay, so they are timing the preparation and the speaking time. If you can speak for 2 minutes, well, answering the question, giving details, they will let you speak for the 2 minutes usually. If you stop, then they will go to the next part. If you keep repeating yourself, they might stop you early to go to part 3. If you go off topic, they might stop you early. There's a good chance that they will stop you early and go to part 3. So to get the highest mark possible in speaking part 2, you definitely want to use your 2 minutes, okay? And this is the way you do that. Step number 1. What do I do? What do I do, members, for the first step? We've done part 2 practice over the past couple of weeks, and I kind of just rushed over this step a little bit because many of you already know it, but I think it's a good time to remind all of our viewers what you have to do for step 1 of the cue card. And it's a very important step because you avoid one of the biggest mistakes in the speaking section by following this step. Okay, Amra says identify the topic. Baljit says to know the type of question. No, and this is the problem. When I don't say it every time, people forget. Okay, there's another step before that. That's right, Amrit. Read the cue card twice carefully, right? So read the cue card twice carefully. Okay, that shouldn't take you more than a few seconds. It's not a lot of information. All right. And there's 2 reasons to do that. One reason is so you know exactly what you will talk about. That's one. And then also the second reason is so you remind yourself to answer all of the questions on the card. There are so many people who stop themselves and they're like, oh, that's it, I have nothing else to say, and they haven't answered all of the questions on the card. You have to answer all of the questions on the card. Okay, so let's do this. IELTS speaking part 2. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. What is this item? Where did you get it? When and where do you use it? What could happen if you do not use this object? Okay. Again, talk about an object you use to stay safe. What is this item? Where did you get it? When and where do you use it? What could happen if you do not use this object? All right, so now you go to the next step, and this is happening fast, okay, where you identify the category. So are we talking about an event, a person, a place, an object, or an idea? And so here we're talking about an object you use to stay safe. So clearly we're talking about an object, okay? When we talk about an object, we must first talk about what it is, right? Its origin. So describe, okay? Its appearance. What is it? Secondly, you need to talk about its origin. Where did it come from? Okay. Then you need to talk about the way you use it. Okay. Then you need to talk about its function, what it actually does. Okay? And if you're really good at speaking and you're fluent, then it's probably a good idea to include some of your opinion about it. Okay? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it good? Is it bad? Include your opinion. And then think about, of course, the questions. Okay? Also, remember the cue card. If you do all that, okay, if you go through all of these ideas for an object that you're talking about, then you will be able to talk for the 2 minutes. Okay, so giving all of this information in this way will enable you to speak clearly with detail for 120 seconds. All right, good. Now, very important step 3. What is step 3? Yeah, Amrit, absolutely. Appearance, origin, usage, function. Ghazi, welcome to our members again. Good to have you with us. Hope your day's off to a good start on the East Coast. Step 3, very important. One that's also often forgotten by candidates, but is extremely important. What is it? What do I need to do? That's right, Amra. Amra says you got to come up with a couple of different ideas. So, yeah, we want to think of ideally 3 ideas. 2 ideas is a good start. If you can think of 3 ideas, Ghazi says excellent. Good, good. So, ideally 3 ideas, okay? Give me some ideas. What are some objects that you use to stay safe? Now, think simple, okay? There are a lot of different objects that we as humans use to stay safe day after day. So if you keep your thoughts simple, then you can really come up with some good answers for this one. So what are some objects that we use to stay safe? So keep our body or our mind stay safe in some way, okay? So keep your thoughts simple. Be original. Choose an easy topic. Easy to talk about object. Okay? With lots of content. Okay, Ghazi, safety shoe. We don't usually call it a safety shoe, Ghazi. We would call it work boots, maybe. Okay, or steel-toed boots. So make sure that you choose an object that you're very familiar with. Helmet for bike. Yep, we've got a video on this cue card that talks about a helmet for the bike. Mal, seat belt. Okay, one word, seat belt. Okay. Baljit says face mask, hand sanitizer, sunglasses. Yeah, okay. All right, very good. Okay, excellent. All right, we've got some good ideas there, and I know we've done this topic a couple of times. Ghazi says save life jacket. That would be called a life jacket. Okay, all one word, life jacket. All right, that's for when you're on a boat or on the water, right? That's what I'm guessing you mean. Okay. All right. So obviously there are lots. Vitamin C, yes, absolutely. Is an object these days. I use vitamin C every single day to stay safe. That's definitely one of the objects, Mal, that I'm into these days for staying safe with a lot of illnesses going around. Okay, now careful students. I mean, for some topics like this one, as you notice, you have lots of ideas. So some of you are coming up with 4, 5, 6 ideas easily, right? Okay, so I'm going to kind of just choose one today because I don't think we've chosen this one, and I think it's a great topic to talk about, especially for people around the world. So the topic I'm going to choose today is a seatbelt. Everybody knows what a seatbelt is? Hopefully. Seatbelt is the belt used in a car to protect ourselves in case of a car accident. Okay. And there's a lot of great information around this, and I can teach you some good vocabulary when we learn about this as well. So let's talk about the seatbelt. Seatbelt would be a really smart idea. I mean, this is why I chose this topic, because I really hope that people are using seatbelts when they are in a car. Not so many years ago, people were very kind of optional when it came to seatbelts, but these days, not as much. Yeah. Ghazi says, or you can have them in strollers as well. It's true, Ghazi, but Ghazi, remember this. Okay? It is an object you use to stay safe. And this is why we have to read that topic twice and really pay attention. I really hope that somebody does not talk about seatbelts in a baby stroller for this answer, because the examiner might kind of look at you a little bit funny and go, really? You know, you're using a seatbelt in a baby stroller to keep you safe? Right? That's what you use to keep your child safe, but it's to keep you safe. Okay? So you got to be careful. I know, Ghazi, you didn't see that. I think you came in just a little bit after the question. But again, look at the question, right? It's just it's a good opportunity for me, Ghazi, to emphasize the importance of the question and talking specifically about the question, because yeah, there are lots of objects that we use to keep our children safe and to keep other people safe around us as well. Here we have to make sure we're talking about an object that is used by us, the speaker, to stay safe. Okay? All right. Yes, Zarina, that's right. That's why you need to understand the question. It's very important. Pay close attention. It shouldn't be too tricky as long as you pay attention. Okay, seatbelt it is. So step 4 is useful notes. All right. So appearance. What does a seatbelt look like? And I chose this topic, like I say, because I can teach you a bit of vocabulary maybe here as well while we go over this. But in the real IELTS, you definitely want to choose an item or an answer, an item in this case, that you can easily talk about, that you know the vocabulary for. So if you're, if you think seatbelt, but I don't really know how to describe a seatbelt or talk about its usage, then choose something else, right? So careful. Sometimes it's not as easy as you might think. A seatbelt, it's kind of so-so. There is definitely some vocabulary there. So Zarina says it's a long, sturdy strap attached to car seats. Okay, yeah, so It's a, don't say long, Zarina. Use numbers instead. It's about a 2 meter, right? Or 3 meter. 2 meter, strong. We don't say sturdy. I don't think it's leather, Baljit. It's synthetic, it's vinyl. Okay. It's a 2 meter strong synthetic strap, right? Usually black. Okay. Yeah, it's attached to the car. Okay, now when you're writing your notes in the real exam, you want to keep these as short as possible. Please do not write the whole word appearance. Okay. Ghazi says it's adjustable. Now, Ghazi, don't jump ahead, right? So when we're talking about the appearance, we want to stay with the appearance. So Ghazi, you are going to the usage. Okay, you've jumped here. All right, so that would be the usage. Go in the same order as what I showed here, Ghazi. So following the same order as appearance, origin, way to use it, function, that's the best way to do it so that you can have good connection. Okay, so here we want to go appearance, origin, and then usage, and then function. Okay, and then even opinion. All right, so that's kind of the way that we want to follow through with this. Okay, so the appearance is that it's 2 meters roughly. It's a strong synthetic strap. It's black. It's attached to the frame of the car. There's still something else that's included with the seat belt here. Okay. We're forgetting something. We're talking about the strap. There's also a, that's right, Mal, very good. And Mal, I'm very amazed that you know the word buckle. Okay, so metal buckle. Yes. That locks to the car. Yeah, absolutely. Lock or clip. Okay. All right. Mal, very good. Buckle. I thought I was going to have to teach that word. That's for your belt on your pants as well, by the way. So if you're wearing a belt right now, the part where you connect the belt and you lock it or tie it, that's called the buckle. Definitely an important part of the unit. Okay, origin. Where does the seatbelt come from? Okay, so it's standard with every car for every seat. Okay, we don't need to put too much information there. Don't make it tricky. So I know that some people buy fancy seats and they upgrade their seat belts, and you know, especially if you're into cars, but you don't need to go there. You don't need to make it more difficult than necessary. Just talk about the plain old regular seat belt, right? Standard with every car, with every vehicle. Okay, it's usage. So how do you use it? This is probably some really good advice. What you tell the world, students, helps to save lives. So how do you use this seatbelt? Okay, what do you do with it? How do I use it? Explain this to me. And this is yeah, kind of putting everybody on the spot. Like, how do you use a seatbelt, right? What's the correct way to use a seatbelt? Baljit says, sit in the car and put it on. Okay. Yeah, I think, Baljeet, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but I agree with you. Ultimately, that is the goal, right? You sit in the car and you put it on. When do you put it on? Right? So let's talk about that. So, clip on before the car is moving. Fasten the seat belt. That's right. Fasten the seat belt. Okay. Any other piece of information? Yeah. Securely lock it. Yeah. Securely clip the belt buckle. Now, of course, I'm using, my notes are a bit long here, but that's just for our learning purposes. Okay, adjust around the chest and shoulder. Yeah, so a lot of people don't pay attention to this, but you know, the seatbelt can actually adjust here above your shoulder in many vehicles. And a lot of people have their seatbelts incorrectly adjusted because maybe there was somebody much taller than them sitting or much shorter than them sitting in that seat. So they have that part on their shoulder either too low or too high. You should check where that is, if you can adjust that, because that can really help to reduce injury. Okay, a lot of people just kind of grab the old seatbelt, clip it in, and off they go. But if you don't have that adjusted, you might not be as safe as you think. Okay, so be careful with it. Okay, so adjust around the chest and shoulder. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and Ghazi says, put it on when you start the engine, and then when do you take it off? Remove it after the car is parked. One kind of bad habit that some people have is they take their seatbelts off too early. They're coming up to their house, they're in a rush, they want to get their seatbelt off as soon as possible, and they still have a few hundred meters to go, and so they unclip themselves. And there's a really strange statistic that often accidents happen within 1 kilometer of the home. So you want to make sure that you have that seatbelt on until the very last minute, until you have parked the vehicle and you can safely exit the vehicle. So that's a very important tip that the experts say. Keep your seatbelt on at all times, right? Use it at all times while driving. One of the other, of course, tips here is use it the whole time, right? You know that sometimes people, they want to get gum from the back seat, or they're trying to reach the back seat and they can't, so they take their seatbelt off to reach the back seat. And of course, that's when they're distracted. That's when they're not looking at the road. So they just removed their seatbelt and they're reaching and not looking at the road. So they've literally just put themselves in harm's way. So you have to be very, very careful. Absolutely. Okay. Function. What does that do? So seatbelt, what does it do? What's the function here? Okay. Give me some sentences here, members. Let's see your vocabulary shine here. So what's the function of a seatbelt? I'm really curious to see how you're going to word this this response here. So what's the function? What do we use it for? What do we have this seatbelt for? We have it to do what? Okay. And again, so you want to really clearly be able to separate each of these elements. So the appearance, the origin, the usage, the function. Okay, exactly. So Mal says to restrict movement in case of accident. Yeah. And not just an accident mode, but even a sudden stop, right? If somebody slams the brakes on hard because they have to prevent an accident, then the seatbelt keeps you in place, right? Yeah, to minimize injury in case of accident, right? Okay, that's true as well. And also a very important one. A lot of people, especially when you're in the front seat, don't think about this, but in the most severe cases, to stop the passenger from being ejected from the vehicle. Okay, so of course, that's another one. Or hitting others or the windshield. Okay, the windshield is that front glass of the window. All right, so yep, guys, exactly. So keep the driver from being thrown from the vehicle. Exactly. Okay, opinion, very important. Right? Saves lives. And let's not forget, it is the law. It'll save you money as well. I don't know about other countries, but in Canada, they're very strict about the seatbelt. If the police officer sees a person who is not wearing their seatbelt, they will get a pretty good fine for sure. And I think they fine the driver as well. So in Canada, it's the driver's responsibility to make sure that everybody in the car has a seatbelt and is wearing a seatbelt. So if somebody's not wearing a seatbelt in Canada, it is the driver that will get fined. So keep that in mind. Yep, it's a pretty decent fine, Amrit. I can't remember how much it is, but I think it's a couple $100 now for a seatbelt fine, at least. Okay, which makes sense. Seatbelts save lives. Okay, so now we have our answer. Now we want to give our 2-minute response to this cue card. The last step, step number 5, is to come up with our first sentence. So come up with your first sentence, members. I'm going to do the same, and then we'll put it all together. Okay. All right. Here we go. So starting simple, answering that topic question very directly. An object that I use regularly to keep myself safe is the car seat belt. Okay, so that's it. I just very, very clearly answer the topic question. Now this is speaking, everybody, so make sure to speak and repeat. So this cue card says, talk about an object you use to stay safe. Speak and repeat. Okay, so copy what I say, copy how I say it. Speak and repeat. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. The examiner will say your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. You need that first sentence so that you can start speaking right away. An object that I use regularly to keep myself safe is the car seat belt. Okay, and then you simply put all of this information together. All right, so in my 2015 Pathfinder every passenger seat has a seat belt. This is a strong black synthetic strap that is attached to the frame of the vehicle. Whether I'm in my car or someone else's, I always make sure to put on my seat belt. The belt has a metal strap, metal buckle, which I clip into the lock as soon as I get into the car. Okay, so it should be pretty smooth sailing from here on out, because all you're really doing is you're going through the appearance, the origin, the function, and looking at the cue card. Okay. Ghazi, a little bit of correction. An object of safety, which I use most often, is the seat belt. I use it whenever I start the engine. Amra, did you actually know, by the way, this is a really weird little fact, but did you know that the law, here, I'll tell you this just so that you're aware of this. You're going to be a little bit surprised, okay? In Canada, while we think about this, so in Canada, I don't know about other places, but in Canada, the law is that you have to put on your seatbelt before you start the engine. Okay. The reason I'm telling you that is because I know a lot of people are planning to come to Canada, and many people plan to do their driver's license in Canada if your driver's license is not accepted from your country. When you do your driver's test, make sure to put on your seatbelt before you start the car. Otherwise, you lose, I don't know how many points, but it's quite significant. So during a driver's test, if you put on your seatbelt after you start the engine, you will lose points. I don't think it's an automatic fail, but you definitely lose points for it. Okay. And the examiners will be looking for that. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. Amra says the one really useful object that I use frequently for safety is the car seatbelt. Seatbelt, one word. It came with the car that I purchased in 2016. This is a strong gray and 2-meter long strap that is attached to the frame of the vehicle, or that is attached to the vehicle. Very good. Okay. I don't know, Ghazi, if you'll fail the exam, but I'm pretty sure you lose a lot of points. All right. Baljit, let's not jump to sunglasses. Let's keep with the seatbelt. Amra says Azerbaijan also has such a law, but nobody obeys the law. Yeah, the problem, Amra, is that it's because nobody enforces the law. So it needs to be enforced. You need to enforce the law. Okay. All right. An object that I use regularly to keep myself safe is the car seatbelt. In my 2015 Pathfinder, every passenger seat has a seatbelt. This is a strong black synthetic strap that is attached to the frame of the vehicle. Whenever I'm in my car or someone else's, I always make sure to put on my seat belt. The belt has a metal buckle which I clip into the lock as soon as I get in the car. I keep my seatbelt on for the entire time while I'm in the car driving, and I only unclip myself once I have parked and stopped the engine. Okay. All right, keep writing and putting together your thoughts into sentences, students. So let's produce a nice response here. Okay. All right. So primarily, the function of the seatbelt is to stop my body from movement by keeping it fixed in an upright position in case of a sudden stop, or God forbid, I think we just use a small g in that one, or you can maybe use a big G as well. God forbid an accident. God forbid is an expression in English which means hopefully it never happens. Okay. Okay, this is an expression. All right. So in case of a sudden stop or God forbid an accident, the seatbelt is designed to lock in case of sudden movement, and in this way I am safe from hitting the windshield or other people or objects in the car in case there is a crash. Crash is another way to say car accident. Okay. All right, Baljit, a pretty decent item that I use often for safety purposes is the seatbelt of my car. Baljit, we wouldn't say pretty decent. Okay, in this case, it's an awkward use of that collocation in this context. So we wouldn't call a seatbelt pretty decent. Seatbelt's fantastic, right? So logically thinking, people wouldn't say pretty decent. It's a very important object. Okay. All right. So now I'm doing okay, and I probably have answered most of the questions. I can include my opinion. So I believe it is extremely important to put on a seatbelt, not just to keep myself secure while driving, but also because it is the law, and this saves me from paying hundreds of dollars in fines if I'm stopped by the police. Okay, so here I've done a good job. I'm answering all of the questions. And now I look at the card and see if I've answered all the questions. So what is this item? Where did you get it? When and where do you use it? Sure. What could happen if you do not use this object? I haven't answered that, okay? So I need to make sure I answer that. If I do not put on the seatbelt while driving and I get into an accident, I can be thrown from the car. That was well used, Ghazi, that verb there. I can be thrown from the car and get seriously injured, or even worse. Also, the insurance coverage will be compromised. Okay, another interesting fact that a lot of people don't pay attention to. If you're not wearing your seatbelt and you get into a car accident, then the insurance company can void the insurance. Even if they don't void the insurance, then the amount of compensation will significantly decrease. Okay, so these are all good words to know as well. So here in Canada, if you're wearing a seatbelt and you're in a car accident, then the insurance company will make sure that you're taken care of. If you're not wearing a seatbelt and you get injured, it's bad for two reasons. One, the injury is likely worse because the person's not wearing the seatbelt and they're getting less help because the insurance company does not feel as responsible for that bad injury because, hey, why weren't you wearing a seatbelt, right? So, Amra, windshield is the front window of the car. It's a good question. So Amra's asking, what is the windshield? And that's a good word to know in English, especially if you're driving. So when you have a car, okay, is that showing up? Yeah, I think so. That front window, that one there is the windshield. Okay, so that's your windshield. And this would be your rear windshield. So front windshield, rear windshield, side windows. Okay. Think about it this way, Amra, because it shields you from the wind. So when your car is going forward, if you don't have that piece of glass in front of you, then you've got way too much wind coming into your face to see or do anything, right? So it shields you from the wind. It protects you from the wind. So it's your wind shield, windshield, okay, in one word. All right, so doing a good job, looking good, moving along. We're definitely a good minute into our speaking right now. And let's say that the examiner is giving me even a bit more time to talk. What could I do right now if the examiner is still giving me some time? So I've talked about this object, what it is, where it comes from, what it looks like, how to use it, when to use it. Talked about what can happen if I don't use it. And I still have like 20 seconds, let's say. The examiner is still looking at me like, okay, it's good. Do you have anything else to say? So I can give you a band 9. What do you think you can do at this point? Ghazi says, give advice? No, I've been doing a lot of that, Ghazi, I know, but not necessarily give advice. Ghazi, keep in mind, this is about an object that you use to stay safe. I wouldn't give advice. There's another piece of information that I could include here, which could help my band score, especially if I have some time left. What is that? What do you think would really make this argument or this knowledge about wearing seatbelts very useful for my listener, for my audience, for the examiner, of course, in the case of the IELTS? So what would be, I guess if you want to think about it this way, what would be the icing on the cake? So the icing on the cake means here you have your cake, I just had my birthday not long ago, and I had some delicious cake, and there was icing on that cake. So here's your cake. Okay, some cake, some birthday candles maybe on the cake. The icing on the cake is the sugar that they put around the edges of the cake. That's the icing on the cake. Maybe I'll use blue for that. So here's your icing on the cake. That makes it look all pretty and extra sweet and delicious. Oftentimes I find the icing is a bit too much, but that's the icing on the cake. And in English, that expression means the fine detail that makes it awesome. Okay? That one extra, that one step extra that makes it great. Okay, so the icing on the cake is an idiom that means the one extra step which makes it awesome. So what is that icing on the cake for this part 2 response? That's right, Ghazi. It's an example. Yeah, Amra, exactly, right? With a seatbelt. Okay, so about 3 years ago, I was in a fender bender. Yeah, it's 2 words. Fender bender, and the seatbelt kept me from hitting my face on the steering wheel. Okay. Yeah, nice quick example. So about 3 years ago, I was in a fender bender. Fender bender means a small accident. Okay. Yep, fender bender, Zarina, means a small accident. So that's where you bump into another car. Okay, the fender, or the bumper, also as it's known, is that piece on the front of your car that is actually designed to take the hit of the car. So in case you're wondering here, again, here is your vehicle. Okay, there's your car. And there is your fender. Rear fender, front fender, or rear bumper, front bumper. When you smash into another car, hopefully not too hard, then you get a fender bender where your fender is kind of messed up. Like that. Okay? All right, so that's why we call it a fender bender. It kind of rhymes, I guess, and somebody at some point in history figured that would be a good way to call it. Okay? All right, so students, we've got a good answer here. Let's go through it together and then we'll practice together. Okay, so here we go. Let's look at the question again. IELTS speaking part 2. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. What is this item? Where did you get it? When and where do you use it? What could happen if you do not use this object? Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. And copy after me here, students. An object that I use regularly to keep myself safe is the car seatbelt. In my 2015 Pathfinder, every passenger seat has a seatbelt. This is a strong black synthetic strap that is attached to the frame of the vehicle. Whether I'm in my car or someone else's, I always make sure to put on my seatbelt. The belt has a metal buckle which I clip into the lock as soon as I get into the car. I keep my seatbelt on for the entire time while I'm in the car driving, and I only unclip myself once I have parked and stopped the engine. Primarily, the function of the seatbelt is to stop my body from movement by keeping it fixed in an upright position in case of a sudden stop or, God forbid, an accident. The seatbelt is designed to lock in case of sudden movement, and in this way, I'm safe from hitting the windshield or other people or objects in the car in case of a crash. I believe it is extremely important to put on a seatbelt, not just to keep myself secure while driving, but also because it is the law and it saves me from paying hundreds of dollars in fines if I'm stopped by police. If I do not put on the seatbelt while driving and get into an accident, I can be thrown from the car and get seriously injured or even worse. Also, the insurance coverage will be compromised. About 3 years ago, I was in a fender bender and the seatbelt kept me from hitting my face on the steering wheel. Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you some questions related to the topic of part 2. And you are golden. I guarantee that will earn you a band 9, that response to that question. Students, let's practice this a little bit. We've got some time. Let's go to the website. So let's go to aehelp.com, everybody. This is our website, and we're going to practice this part 2. You can practice the seatbelt, or you can practice a different idea. Up to you, members. I'm looking for you first. Okay, so aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Register an account if you don't have one yet for our newer members. Okay, you can create a free account with the green button under the red button. Log into your My Student account. After you log in to your My Student account, click on Student Partner Speaking right there. Okay. After you click on Student Partner Speaking, accept that you will use this function of the website with respect. And you take responsibility for your own speaking. Once you're here, you will see people in here. So we have Clara Uzman Munib, Zarina Amrit, Ghazi, Hesti, Brajesh are all in here, which is fantastic. And then you can send me a message. You can say, I would like to speak, and then we can do a bit of speaking. This is members chat class, so members get first priority in here, okay? And I can see that Ghazi and Amrit are already volunteering. So let's start with Ghazi today. Ghazi, are you ready to practice this object of safety? So Ghazi sent me a message. I'm just checking to make sure we have a good connection here and we can contact each other, and then we'll get into it. I'm going to reach out to a few different students today, so the focus will be practice.
Hello, Adrian.
Good morning, Ghazi. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Good.
How about you?
I am doing good.
Good, good.
Good. Can you mute YouTube so that we don't get the echo?
Okay, it's okay. You hear me? Now it's okay.
Yeah, now it's clear. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Ghazi. So object of safety. Let's do this. I will start you off. And if you'd like, Ghazi, so now you know what's happening. You're a member for a while now, and you're practicing regularly, which is great. So you know how to do this. So your choice. You can talk about the seatbelt, or you can choose a different object if you had a different one in mind. I will let you decide. I will keep the questions on the screen so you can see the questions, okay?
Yeah, I
And
want to choose another topic.
sure, up to you. And focus on giving a nice, clear answer
Yeah.
with the structure that we have been discussing in class, okay? So here we go, Ghazi. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The object I use it to save myself is vitamin C. Vitamin C it's a large tablet put in a box. Usually I buy them from pharmacy or grocery stores. Is put in a small box. Usually it comes with 10 tablets or 20 tablets. Yeah, it include the cost of them about $5 per box, and it smell like orange smell. Usually I take one tablet daily after lunch. I just put the tablet in a glass of water, and I drink it after that. Yeah, this is protect my body from chronic disease and infectious disease, and to strengthen my immune system. Even reduce the risk of COVID or flu. That's the reason I didn't get COVID virus so far due to this. If I didn't get it, I will feel dizziness and I will get iron deficiency. This is amazing tablet, and I eat them, and they help me to focus during my study, and also because I didn't get vitamin C from the food resources, and I can get it now from the tablet.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. That's good, Ghazi. That was great. Okay, vitamin C, good choice, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a good choice, I think, for an object that we use these days. I do it as well. I think there's like a vitamin C shortage in the world since COVID.
Yeah.
We're all eating vitamin C instead of candy. But that's good. Okay, just the one feedback. So I think you're doing great, and I think there's still some small grammar mistakes. And you want to keep working on that fluency. That would be like a band 6.5, I want to say. As soon as you start speaking a little bit faster, you're going to be definitely at the 7.5 range, especially if you keep working on those grammar mistakes as well. One important tip, Ghazi, is don't spend maybe so much time on the description. So the appearance and the origin should be pretty fast, okay? That should only take about 10-15 seconds. So I thought that you were spending a little bit too much energy and time talking about the small box. You actually said vitamin C is in a large box, and then you said that it's in a small box. So there's a bit too much there. And then you finally got to talking about how you use it and why you use it. So you said, I take one tablet daily after lunch. I put it in water. And then you said it strengthens my immune system. Really nice vocabulary there. Saves me from the flu or even COVID. That's where you want to focus.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you want to say a little bit more about its appearance, you can still do that later. You can say, last week I bought a box of 20 tablets from the pharmacy for $5. So you can kind of stick that in at the end. The examiner is mostly focusing on that part of the question about the how do you use it, why do you use it, okay?
Yeah, talk about medications. The shape doesn't matter. So the most important the use.
Yeah,
and the
exactly. Exactly, and a tablet's fairly simple, right? So it's not
Yeah,
quite like a seatbelt or a helmet where you might describe more of its appearance because its appearance is related to its
yeah,
function, right? So a seatbelt and a helmet, the appearance is strongly connected to
yeah,
why it's an
exactly.
object of safety.
Depend on the topic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but with
depend
a
on the.
vitamin C pill, man, whether it's a tablet
Yeah,
or gel cap or droplets or a pack
yeah,
of powder, it doesn't really matter all that much, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Ghazi, that was good though. Keep it up. All right. Especially the second half. So once you start speaking and once that, language is flowing, it gets really good.
Yeah,
So speak lots, Ghazi.
yeah,
Okay. Speak lots.
yeah. I will. I will. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ghazi. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. See you later.
Okay. Bye bye. All right, Ghazi, great guy here in Canada with his family. Okay, let's do this. Members first. Zarina, let's give Zarina a chance. Amrit, I've got my eye on you as well. Don't worry. Zarina, are you ready? Okay. We will have an all chat class, everybody, coming up after this. So if I can't get to you after getting to our members, then I will get to you in the next class. And if you want me to get to you in this class, then become a member so you have priority. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Zarina. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, sir, for asking. How about you?
I am also feeling good. Yeah, it's a nice summer day here in Victoria. All
Oh,
right.
yes.
Zarina, let's do this. So you've been in the class, you know what's going on. I'm going to
Yes,
start
sir.
you off, and then if you would like, you can stay with the same idea that we have practiced in the class. So you can stay with the seatbelt, or if you want, you can choose a different item. Okay, up to you.
Okay, sir. I would like to choose a different item.
Okay, sure. So here we go. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. Um, the object that I like to talk about that keeps me safe is the sunscreen. I got it from Health and Wellness Store. It is not very expensive, so I always make sure I have it available all the time. It is in the form of cream and it's fragrant. I often use it whenever I go out of the house on hot summer days because in my place here in the Philippines, uh, when it's summertime, it's extremely hot and on the in the month of March to June. It is basically protects us not only from the effects of the sun rays, which is cancer, and it also uh, give us protection from the heat as well. Uh, the if you don't use if I don't use the I if I don't use the sunscreen whenever I go out on hot summer days, I feel itchy at the end of the day and I get sunblock. So that's why most of the time I use this kind of cream to protect myself from harsh effect of the sun rays.
Okay, I'll stop you there since you stopped. All right. Remember, Serena, if I don't stop you,
Okay.
and Ghazi didn't do this either, and you didn't do this either, but I did emphasize this. Okay, if I don't stop you, what can you do?
Just put some icing on the
Put some icing on the
yeah.
cake. And what's the icing here? It's the example, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of
Yes,
an
yes.
example can you give me here?
Uh, at this moment, it's still summertime in the Philippines, so we always go out to the beach, and I always put on my apply the sunscreen.
It's still just kind of an explanation. An example is always
Oh, okay,
something that's real world, that's happening or that has happened. Okay?
okay.
So have you ever forgot to put on sunscreen?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened?
Uh, it I got sunblock.
Sunburned.
Sunburn.
Sunburned.
Sunburn.
Sunblock is another way to say sunscreen. So that was a mistaken vocabulary, and I caught that. Be careful, your
Yeah.
examiner. Your examiner
Yes,
will
yes.
catch those mistakes. I caught that earlier too. So
Yes,
you got
sunburn.
sunburned, right? Is what you
Yes, yes,
intended to
yes.
say. That's a big mistake because it's a coherence mistake as well, right? So
Yes,
sunburned,
yes.
sunburned. So your example would be something like last Saturday. Last Saturday, I forgot to put
Oh, okay.
on sunscreen and I got sunburned.
Yes, yes.
If you get lots of sunburns throughout your life, what happens? Or what, well, hopefully it doesn't happen, but what can happen if a person gets a lot of sunburns?
Actually, you get the skin cancer.
So it really protects you from something that's very dangerous beyond a sunburn,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
this also decreases the chance of skin cancer.
Mm-mm.
So these are what's called the low-hanging fruit. I'm all about the food idioms today, Zarina. Do you know this idiom, low-hanging fruit?
Oh, yeah. I know. It's my first time to hear that.
Okay, so it's a very common idiom. It's a very popular one these days. We often say, go for the low-hanging fruit. Go for the low-hanging fruit. Okay, and this idiom means find the easy path or the easy choice, easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this idiom is really easy to remember. Basically, all you have to remember if you're watching my screen, can you see my screen, Serena?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is you have a tree. So here we have an apple tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the apple tree has some apples. They're blue apples. Don't eat blue apples. But if you see, but here there's some apples on the apple tree. And which ones are you going to get first if you want to get the apples from this apple tree? So here's
The reachable one,
the low hanging apples.
the long hanging apples.
Low hanging apples. Yeah, the easy ones. That's where this idiom comes from, the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit means go for the easy choice, right? So when you're talking for part two, really try to think about what is that low-hanging fruit, right? So sunblock, I think that's a great idea. I thought about that for today's topic as well, Zarina, but the reason I didn't choose that one is because there are a lot of people that don't use sunblock or sunscreen because they don't need it. They have either dark skin or they live in a part of the world where you don't
Oh,
need it as much.
yes.
So I didn't want to confuse some people like, what is sunblock? What is sunscreen? But if you're in a place where you need it, that's a really good choice. That would be a
Mm-hmm.
top choice for me. Here in Victoria, where I live, we have a very strong sun, so it's highly
Mm-hmm.
advisable to wear sunscreen. Okay, overall, I think that you would easily get a 6.5. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Getting close to a 7. That was a pretty solid response. All right. It's just a couple of these missing words that I felt, you should have had there for that band 7. Also, a couple of those confusing words like sunblock instead of sunburn. And it protects you from the sun's rays, right? So from the rays of the sun, you use that. You said it protects me from the harmful sun rays. What do we call those rays? So I was really looking for a specific number there. When we talk about sunblock or sunscreen, we always talk about this number. What number?
I don't know, sir.
Yes, you do. It's on the front of every sunscreen, I think, in every single language.
SPF.
Thank you. Why would you say you don't know that? Come on. You know that, Serena. All right. And what's your sunblock's SPF?
SPF 50.
Thank you. Okay. So, see, you do know. There's no way
Yeah,
I believe
yes.
you that you don't know. So, I use SPF 50, which is quite effective for reducing UV ray effect. Okay.
Yes.
All right, repeat this sentence after me. I use SPF 50 sunblock, which is quite effective for reducing UV rays effects.
I use SPF 50, which is quite effective for reducing UV rays effect.
Much better. Those kinds of sentences will get you that band 8, band 9. Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. So
Great.
your structure was good. Your ideas were great. Okay. I thought that you're putting it together well. Now focus on those little bits of details and those low hanging fruit. Right. Get the low hanging
Yes, sir.
fruit. So it protects me from skin cancer in the long run. Okay, Serena, good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for the inputs also.
Thank you, and thank you for choosing sunblock. I really wanted to talk about that today, so I'm glad you did. Okay, Zarina, have a great
Okay,
rest of
thank
your
you.
day.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
All right, that was Zarina. She was reading my mind. Maybe she felt my head was burning in there. Sunblock is an item that we use to stay safe. All right, let's jump to Amrit. I know Amrit was really hanging in there. Is Amrit still with us? Oh, did Amrit leave? Amrit, just when I was getting to you. I don't see you in my list. Are you here? You're in the chat. I just don't see you in the list. Okay, well, Amrit, because I can see your thumbs up, Amrit. You were very patient. I was bouncing around you. I'm going to jump to Baljeet, Amrit, and then I'll do you after because I promised Baljeet now. So, but I did see you come back in. Stay in there, Amrit. You're coming after Baljeet. Okay. All right. Baljeet, are you ready? Again, viewers, this is a members chat class, so members get priority in the practice. But we will have speaking part 3 coming up shortly as well. So, and there I will pick people random. That's an all chat. Okay. All right, Baljeet, and I see Dwi in there as well. So, and I know Dwi is another one of our members. All right, Baljeet, let's do this.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Baljeet. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir. How about you?
I am solid. Thank you for asking. Okay, Baljeet, are you ready to talk about an object that you use to keep safe?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. But first, I have a question. Like, I have chosen sunglasses. Is it plural or a singular? I'm confused.
Okay, yeah, and you should be very careful in the IELTS. If you're not sure, I would choose something different. Sunglasses is always plural. It's just like pants. Because you know how you have 2 pant legs, so we call it pants. The one weird one is a shirt. We don't call it shirts, even though you have 2 sleeves. But sunglasses, it's always plural because there's 2 glasses in the sunglasses. So we refer to each one. So it's like shoes, pants,
Okay.
sunglasses. Yeah, so it's plural. I think a long time ago somebody did sunglasses when we covered this topic, but okay, give it a shot. Sunglasses are a good one. Did you pay careful attention to Zarina's feedback about sunblock?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, there's a reason I'm asking you that, right? Because a lot of vocabulary that was there is actually useful to talk about sunglasses also. Okay, so let's do it then. Baljeet, here we go. I'm going to start you off. So talk about an object you use to stay safe. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. An item that I use for safety is the sunglasses. I purchased these sunglasses from an online app website, imyeye.com, about 5 $2, and it cost me $2 extra for anti-glare lenses. Its appearance is quite beautiful because it has aviator it these have aviator shape and a metal frame. The glasses are dark brown in color, and it has a medium size. It These have a medium size which perfectly fit on my face. I use these glasses when I go outside in my city or in my neighborhood mm, cities as well. I also use these glasses when I ride my bike and when I play certain kind of sports in sunny afternoons. So the function of these glasses is to really protect my eyes from ultraviolet rays, as well as these glasses have extra functions for protect provide protection from blue light, which I can use for uh, operating computer as well as my mobile phone. Along with these function, it has extra function for power glasses, which I have added, uh, which also cost me $2 extra for this function. So last time wore these glasses when I went for the wedding of my uh, friend, and I look fabulous in these glasses. And when I think if I don't wear these glasses, cause me it can cause sunburns to my eyes, as well as it can cause dryness or wetness to my eyes, which can further lead to low vision. So these are the glasses which I use for the protection of my
Okay,
eyes.
your time is up. I will stop you there. I probably gave you a bit more than 2 minutes there, Baljeet, because I wanted you to catch those mistakes that you were making, and you did. You picked one up, which was, what happens if you don't use these sunglasses or this object of safety, right? So kind of the same advice right away as what I gave to Ghazi. You need to get to the heart of the question a little bit faster, the heart of these questions a bit faster. You spent a little bit too much time and energy describing the appearance of the sunglasses and where you got them from. With sunglasses, it's okay. It's definitely a bit better than vitamin C because sunglasses are also a fashion statement, right? So
Yes,
it's
sir.
okay to spend a bit more time describing what they look like. And you said they're anti-glare. Or we also often say they're polarized. So
Yes, sir.
polarized or anti-glare, if somebody doesn't know what that is, it means that it doesn't reflect the sun as much. So polarized, anti-glare sunglasses. They're
Yes, sir.
especially good for driving, right? I was surprised. Do you drive a car, Baljeet?
No, I ride my bike, sir, a lot.
Okay, well, for that as well, for bike and for driving a car, having anti-glare sunglasses actually keeps you safe because you can see better, right?
Yes.
So spend a little bit more time on the heart of the question. Okay, you got to that part a little bit late, and going to your example. I thought that was it was clever that you're like, okay, I got to put an example in there, right? But your example was a little bit off mark. What I mean by that is you talked about your sunglasses as a fashion piece, like looking great at the wedding, but we're
Yes, sir, I
talking.
forgot to mention these earlier because I can use this as a fashion symbol.
Well, you shouldn't though. Don't say that because that's not the focus of the question. The question is focusing on object of safety, right? So
Yes.
your example should focus on a safety object. So it should have been, I wore my sunglasses when I was riding my bike to this exam so that I could see better, so that I don't hit somebody or cause an accident. That would be a better example, because then you're using the example to back up your explanation. And this is very important for everybody watching. When you're using an example, make sure that it's an example for the explanation and not an example for a different idea. Okay, like a fashion statement. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I actually didn't plan for this example. I suddenly made it.
You did a good job. I mean, that's kind of the IELTS. In the IELTS, that's what you do. You kind of suddenly make it all up. You have a little bit of planning time, but it's not much. So about as much as you had here. By the way, for those of you who were wondering what UV means, UV means ultraviolet rays, and Baljit did a good job of explaining that vocabulary. We usually just say UV and keep it simple. But if you say ultraviolet, that's fine. Ultraviolet rays, sure. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So overall, quite good. I would say band 6.5. For that 7, you need that extra bit of clarity and content and detail. Okay. Just like with Serena, just like with Ghazi, that little extra bit of clarity and content. Okay, Baljit, thank you so much for volunteering. Keep up the good practice. By the way, the type of sunglasses that you're talking about, you don't have to say aviator shape. You can just call them aviators. They look like this.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm drawing the aviators. Aviators are what pilots use. If anybody watched the new Top Gun movie, they're full of aviator sunglasses. Okay, so they're called aviators. Aviators. Okay, all right. Okay, Baljit, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye. All
Bye,
right.
sir.
Thank you for the thumbs up and the support there, students. Hi, Hesty. I see you there as well. I'm not sure if I can get to everybody, but I did promise Amrit. So Hesty, you're at the top of my list if I don't get to you, okay, for next class. Okay, Amrit, you were very patient there. Are you ready? Let's see. Hopefully you're still there. I'll reach out to you. Okay, good. Here we go, Amrit. All right, nice to see many members volunteering now. It's lovely.
Hello.
Hi, Amrit. How are you?
I am doing great, sir. What about you?
I am also doing fantastic. I will be wearing my sunglasses later on today. It's nice and sunny here, but they're not aviators. They're sports glasses. Okay, Amrit,
Okay, sir.
you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I am ready.
I will start you off. Choice is up to you. Here we go. Talk about an object you use to stay safe. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. An object that I regularly use to keep myself safe is the car seat belt. This is a handy item for me. It is a strong black synthetic strap that is attached to the car frame. Whenever I go to work, I always make sure to put on my seat belt, and I feel safer when I put these on myself, and I keep my seat belt on the entire time while I am in the car driving. The seat belt is designed to lock in the case of sudden movement. In this way, I am from hitting the windshield or other people or object in the car. This crash. I believe it is a vital for everyone to put seat belt. In India, it also allows to put seat belt for everyone, every citizen. If they are not put seat belts, they should be paid 2,000 2,000 Indian rupees fine. And I use this seat belt. I remember that I used this seat belt in the year of 2010, when my father bought first car, and even my father taught me how to use the seat belt. And if I am not wear this seat belt, I got injured by accident. So it is a good idea to wear seat belt always.
Okay, I'll stop you there.
I think I speak 2 minutes.
No, that was fine. All right. No, you actually spoke for about 1 minute and 35 seconds. I do check the time when everybody's speaking. So you started at
Okay.
my time. You started at 6:58, and it just turned 7 right now. So you were under 2 minutes still. When you have good information, Amrit, and when you're giving new information, you can give a lot of information in 2 minutes. Okay,
Okay,
so
sir.
so that was good. Now you went with what we've been practicing in the class, which is great. Okay, so it's
Yes,
good to
sir.
practice what we do in the class, and then you made it your own. So instead of talking about Canadian law and Canadian situation, you made it in
In
India,
India.
Indian rupees. Yep, and you said it's 2,000 Indian rupees. Fine. Um, don't switch to third person, Amrit. So don't say in India it is also the law, people should pay. Keep it yourself, okay? Part 2, if it's about you, especially like talk about an item you use to say safe, then say in India it is the law. If I break this law, I have to pay 2,000 Indian rupees. So keep it to yourself, okay?
Okay,
Instead of
sir.
saying
Even we
people should
cannot
pay.
use in the example. We cannot use third person in the example.
You can, but it doesn't sound as good because the whole time you're talking about yourself, the item that you use to keep safe, and now suddenly you're generalizing and you're talking about people, right? It makes sense and it's okay, but in good communication, it's considered a weak strategy. So a stronger strategy is to always control the voice of the speaker, or in writing, the author. And if your voice is about you, if you're making a statement about yourself, then you should keep that statement about yourself. Okay.
Okay,
So that's why you want to keep that a first person example. Now, of course, with this answer that we practiced, especially the first half, you're getting an easy band 7. It's very clear. It's very well structured. It's nice and smooth, good vocabulary. So you're getting a nice high band score. In the second half, there were some slight mistakes, but overall, it was quite good. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I cover all of the questions. Like,
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. The last question, what could happen if you do not use this object? I'm not sure if that was clearly covered. Definitely check the card, right? So if I don't use this object, a good way, Amrit, to pay attention to that is the grammar. So if you do not use this object, it's a conditional. So you should find yourself using that conditional in the response. Like you should, and one point I wanted to say is I think all of our members, our volunteers today, did a really good job of starting directly with the answer. So all of you had an object that I used to stay safe beginning, which was really good. None of you did this kind of like, there are many objects that I use in my life to stay safe. I use this, I use that, but the object I want to talk about today. So none of you did that, which I was really happy about. I like how all of you went directly for the object and started talking about it. That was really smart. Okay.
yes,
So
sir.
that's a thumbs up for you and for everyone else. Now, to make sure that you cover all the answers, use the grammar of those questions. So if I don't use this object, I can get seriously injured in case of a car accident, broken bones, or even worse, right? So then you know that you answered that question. Check the card, okay?
Yes, sir. And even sir, last question I cover very last. Like I give less detail.
Yeah, there was a good amount of detail. Again, what I said to you before is that when you're giving good information, you can include a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Okay. All right,
sir.
Amrit, come back for next class as well, coming up in about 30 minutes, speaking part 3, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for giving me this nice chance.
Okay. Bye, Amrit. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, bye, sir.
All right, and to those who I didn't get to, Hesti and Dwi, I will definitely be looking for you in next class, okay? So don't be angry at me. Don't get upset. I will be checking for you in the next class, which is coming up in 25 minutes to be exact. and we will have a class speaking part 3 that will continue from this topic. So in the IELTS speaking part 3 is related to speaking part 2. Okay. Until then, check out our websites, everyone. aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Join our premium course. Click on that big red button. Again, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's worth it. And then you get all the help you need. You get all the books, and you're off to the races. Remember those idioms from today's class as well, students. Hopefully I will see you in 25 minutes for speaking part 3 after a short break. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now, but I will be back soon. Bye.